Hello, once again, this is Judy Sleed, and I have my good friend Julie Ratner as a guest. Good to see you, Julie.
It is really great to be here. Thank you for having me, Judy. It's great to
Yes,
be
it's been
in person.
it,
You know, I mean, I haven't seen you in a year and a half.
a year and a half.
I
Wow.
think so.
Yes, but I spoke to you a few times on the phone,
Absolutely.
and well, anyway, I'm so happy you were able to make this, and you were my guest many times, and we still have a lot to talk about.
Isn't that great?
Yes.
There's always something to talk about.
Yes,
So,
yes, you're doing such a great job with Ellen's Run. That's your baby,
one of them.
and I read that you had that big affair to raise money over under a tent, or
Well, yes. We had two events this summer. We had the run on August 15th, and then we had our gala on August 28th. And originally we were going to have our gala inside, and then I attended an event on August 1st for a hospital in Israel called Soroka Medical Center of the Negev, and Dr. Larry Norton came and spoke, and he's on the staff of Memorial Sloan Kettering, and he also serves, I think, on a special task force, COVID task force. So he gave us all an update on COVID and Delta. And when he was done with his presentation, I looked at Ann Gomberg, who's our executive director on the foundation, and I said, we're not doing this inside. That no one will come, and I can't invite anyone with a straight face to come inside. So we were honoring John Graham from the Hampton Racquet Club, and we called John and his sister Monica and said, can we have our event here on your premises, and we'll put up a big tent, it'll have open sides, it'll be very COVID safe, and that's what we did. And
Yes.
I'm happy to say that not one of our guests reported a case of COVID. Thank you.
Oh,
You know, like,
yeah, that I'm so happy to hear
Exactly.
that, because I had seen pictures of it, and it looked
It
fabulous.
was one of our it was one of our best events. Yeah, and every event that we do is always fraught. You know, every event is fraught, right? There
Yeah.
are challenges. So the morning of the event, we were at the tennis club setting up, going over seating, tables, whatever you have to do to set up. And we get a call at 10:30 in the morning from the band that was supposed to provide the entertainment. And we love this band, and we were so excited to have them. And we heard that the lead singer tested positive for COVID that morning.
Oh, I think I heard
And
about
so,
that
yeah,
from
and so we had
Sarah.
to hire another band at the last minute, and we found this wonderful reggae band that filled in. And again, they were a success, and people loved them. And so it made the event was wonderful. And so we were so lucky that we had all these challenges and people came together, and it worked out so well. And I think everyone was happy to be together in person. And because it was outdoors, and also when you're inside under the tent eating, you can't wear a mask while you're eating. So people actually saw each other.
Yes.
And there was just this wonderful, happy spirit, camaraderie, joy that was there. And we raised a lot of money.
I was just going to ask about
we
that.
we did really, really well. And I know everyone asked me for specifics, and I'm very bad at knowing the exact numbers of what we raised, because I think I have such anxiety around always raising enough money.
Yeah.
I can never remember the number. I could go look it up, but I can't. It's very silly, I admit it. But we did really well. And that way we can continue with our programs. You know, the one thing about COVID and having to change sort of how we do business and how we entertain and raise money and all kinds of things gave us time to reassess what we do, how we do what we do, how we try to enable our mission and honor the mission, which you know is to ensure access to state-of-the-art breast health care and to enable people affected by cancer. So we looked at our mission and looked at what we're doing, and we realized the thrust of our work is to make sure that women, especially women on the margins, are getting medical treatment. They're getting mammograms. They're getting breast health care. And so with that in mind, we've reached out to 4 organizations and partnering with them. They're our partners now to make sure that women in at-risk communities are receiving care. And those partnerships are the Shinnecock Health Services, the Retreat with Bonnie Cannon, that's with, I'm sorry, Loretta Davis, the Bridgehampton Child Care Center with Bonnie Cannon, and OLA with Minerva Perez. And so we're very excited to get this going and to make sure that all women who live in our neighborhood, so to speak, are getting services. And so
That's wonderful. Like you added that wing to the Southampton Hospital.
right? It opened in 2009, so it's been around now 11 years. It's not even so new anymore, though it's still state
Well,
of
I'm
the
just
art.
wondering how many people know about it. It is. I always think of you when when I see the hospital. And I said, that's where.
Well, if you drive down, was it Meeting House Road when you're going by the main entrance of the hospital? If you're, if you look out your window, you'll see the Ellen Hermanson Breast Center, and then there's the Wellness Center next door. And look, I don't know that enough people know about it. I think many people know about it, especially because more people have moved out to the East End because of COVID. And so the hospital is really servicing a lot of people. I called for my own mammogram, and I have to wait till December, I think, because there's a list of people ahead of me. They're doing a lot of work. They're performing a lot of mammograms, and that's good. There are still people who don't know about it. There are people who don't know, or women mostly, who don't know that even if you don't have insurance, you can have a mammogram. We can make arrangements. I mean, it's not that everything is free, but there are funds and there are ways to get mammograms, and we don't want a lack of insurance to inhibit someone from having a mammogram.
It's really wonderful, and you started this from nothing.
Absolutely
It was
nothing.
just an idea, and then look how far you've gone.
You're right. It wasn't even my idea, if you have to know the truth. In 1996, I had just defended my dissertation at Columbia, at Teachers College at Columbia University, and I met a wonderful woman named Vivian Shapiro, who has become one of my best friends. And she is a powerhouse in the gay community, in the Jewish community, in the Democratic Party. Whatever she does and puts her mind to, she does with great flair and energy and purpose. And so when I met Vivian, I was telling her about my sister Ellen, and she said, she sounds remarkable. And I said, she was. And she said, what are you going to do to honor her? And I said, I'm thinking. I just haven't come up with an idea yet. And she looked at me and said, so how many marathons have you run? And I said, 5. She said, good, we're going to do a run in East Hampton, and we'll call it Ellen's Run. And that is how Ellen's Run came into being. And we had our first meeting in May 1996, and we produced our first annual, we were very ambitious, Ellen's Run in August. And that was the beginning. And there were so many naysayers who said, you can't do it, you'll never make any money, you don't know what you're doing, you haven't done this before. And I just thought,
Yeah.
that's never stopped me before. And I don't have to know what I'm doing, I'll just do it and figure it. It's called experiential learning. You learn while on the job. And that's what we did. And then we had a second run and a third run, and we just had our 26th run.
Right. Yes, it's so funny that you don't know what you're doing. I'll never forget that. Lee Davis, who was for many years my director, before each show, he would look at me and said, okay, do you know what you're doing? Yeah, I said, no. He said, okay, I don't know either. Let's do it.
It was so much fun. I remember Lee. He was such a nice man. Really.
Yes, it was. But you did so wonderful, from nothing, all this, and it's so important, and you are known. everyone knows you in the community.
Thank you.
And you are one of the, I said, the accomplished women who, they named you like that. I've seen you paper, I see you picture in a lot of the
But
events.
you know, none of us does this on our own. I have a great team of people. I have the board of the Ellen Hermanson Foundation is terrific. It's all women and one man. The one man is Ellen's husband, and he's fabulous. And then my whole board. And then I have incredible volunteers. And I have an incredible partner in our executive director, Ann Gomberg. She has just really helped me grow this foundation to the next level. And I credit her with so much good that's come to this foundation.
Yes, I was going to say that. You have wonderful people to help you. I've been to many meetings that took place in your home around that fabulous table you have in your dining room.
Right.
We were all sitting there, and you make wonderful spread for everybody to enjoy. And
well, there was a method in all this. Years ago, when I was married and we bought that table, we bought that table on purpose. It was made from floorboards of a barn. It was not a fancy table. It's just the floor of a barn nailed together.
Yeah.
And on some sort of, supports. And we always wanted a big table so that we could have the entire family sitting around the table for holidays, for whether it's Rosh Hashanah or Thanksgiving or someone's birthday. We wanted to be able to have everyone around one table. So that's how the table came into being, because it was really important. And now I still have my family around the table, and I have my family of Ellen's Run volunteers and friends around the table.
Yes.
And cooking for everyone at an Ellen's Run meeting has always been my great joy. Because, first of all, I always try to cook really healthy, vegetarian, vegan.
Yes.
Because it can be like comfort food. I used to think, health food is really awful. How can it be? But it's great. It can be so incredibly delicious. And it can be healthy at the same time.
Yes, I enjoyed your cooking for many years. I remember.
Oh, thank you.
I was there. That table, when I first saw that table, I was taken aback, because years ago I danced on top of a table like that.
Well, tell me about that. I want to hear about you dancing on a table. Where was the table?
It was in one of those Caribbean islands where I met Gerhardt. That was his name. He was about 7 feet tall. And I got on the table and said I had to go, because I couldn't reach you. Well, I don't have to tell you how I made a big scene.
So you would have come up to his waist, so you're on the table, so you can be eyeball to eyeball.
Yes. And then I must have had a couple of drinks, and then I started dancing. But that's what your table reminded me of when I first saw it.
Well, that's a good memory. I'm glad.
Yes.
How did you end up in a Caribbean island?
Well, I was married to, my husband was a travel writer and a travel editor for the Long Island Press. So we were invited to a lot of these exotic islands so he could write about it. And of course, they wanted him to write well, so they treated us real well.
All right, they wanted to say only good things.
Yes, yes. So that was just one of the memories. Your table.
Well, sorry we don't have a picture.
Yeah.
That would be great.
Yes, but that's, certain scenes when you look at something, you remember something.
It triggers a memory.
Yes, yes. So I was also saying that you have great people helping you, like Sarah Blue is one of them. And then that other lady who used to make those chocolate cookies.
Oh, she still does, Judy Walensky. Sarah Blue is just, I just want to say, I want to acknowledge Sarah, because she's everywhere. She reads our copy and press, and she picks up everything, you know, with any little misspelling, any little grammatical error. Sarah, I just call her Eagle Eyes. She's just amazing. And she's gracious. She knows the entire world. She gets the job done. Sarah is amazing. Judy Walensky is the salt of the earth. She is so kind-hearted, such a good person, so willing to pitch in and help. And yes, she never comes to any event without a box of her fabulous cookies.
Yes.
And I've asked her for the recipe, excuse me, and she won't give the recipe. But I said, you have to come to every meeting whether I know how to make your cookies or not. But they are good. And my daughter Lizzie is addicted to them. So am I, if the truth be told.
Yes.
I can't eat just one.
I,
have to eat about
I
5.
was going to ask you about your 2 daughters and your grandchildren. The apple of your eye.
They are. Well, my 2 girls, they're great. I'm always happy they live in the same building in the East Village, and they're very close, and they're there for each other. My grandson is 11 and a half.
Oh my gosh.
Remember, he was just born a minute ago.
The Bean is 11 and a half.
Bean. You remember we call him the Bean.
Yes.
You know how he got the name the Bean? When Lizzie sent us the sonogram, or I guess, or the ultrasound when she first found out she was pregnant, and you see the embryo, it looks like a little kidney bean. It's like this big.
Yes.
It's teensy, and it looks like a little bean. And you think this little bean is like Jack and the Beanstalk. It's going to sprout into a whole person.
Yeah.
And so the Bean is 11 and a half. He's in 6th grade in middle school. And
Wow.
where'd the time go? Still loves the birds, still knows he's my little professor.
Oh,
I talked to him the other night for an hour about birds.
really?
I saw a bird flying over the water that I thought it had like an orange underside to it. So I said, what bird has an orange underside that flies? And we were trying to figure out what it might be. And I said, whenever I see an interesting bird, you're not there, I need you. Yeah, he's my heart and soul. He just is everything to me. And then my little granddaughter is 19 months old.
Wow.
And she, for a tiny little pint-sized person, she has a giant personality. She's very cute. She makes us laugh. She's great.
That's really great.
Yeah.
Yeah. When I think of little kids, I feel so bad about this time with COVID that they have to wear masks. I don't know how the parents deal with that.
I think it's hard. I know that Elias, in his school, because he's not vaccinated, because he's still too young. And so my daughter has great anxiety that he's in school with all these other kids who aren't vaccinated. I think so far so good, but it's a concern.
Yeah.
It's a concern. And for the little one, I think my daughter would have taken her to the Y or to like story hour at the library, but everything has to be outside still. And
Yes.
so
And
she's
I was
missing
always
socialism.
thinking about those little children, they have to wear masks so they can't see their playmates.
Right, and facial expression and how you
Yeah.
read all that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's hard.
It's hard in these times. So on the brighter side,
Yes.
it's you live here most of the time in the Hamptons.
Full time now. When I came out in March of 2020 with my daughter Rebby and the baby and her boyfriend, there was just the 3 of us. It took the 3 of us all day to take care of this 1 8-pound baby. It was amazing how, I said to her, I forgot how labor intensive a baby is. I mean,
Yes.
they're like high maintenance little people.
Of course.
Phew. So I came out here. Rebby stayed with me for 13 months. I didn't go back to the city at all for 5 or 6 months. And then when I did go back, it was sort of changed, and I thought, I think I just want to stay here. Being here saved my family during COVID. We felt very lucky. We don't take it for granted. We had a roof over our heads. We had enough food, and we had each other. So we weren't
Yes.
lonely. I know. I have friends who saw no one for 6 months. Didn't see their children, their grandchildren, see friends. They lived by themselves, alone in an apartment. It's difficult, and we didn't have that. And we were lucky that we had a roof. We had enough food to eat. We had what we needed. So
Yes.
we felt very lucky. We really did. And we could go outside and walk around without a mask because we didn't see anyone. You could walk.
Yeah, where you live, it's very private.
It's very isolated. It's quiet.
Yeah. So that was comfortable. You don't have to worry about your neighbors.
Didn't worry about anyone. We could go out and
Yeah.
play it. Anyway, so it was fine. We managed just fine. It was lonely at times not to see friends, not to see. I couldn't see my daughter Lizzie because we had to quarantine before we could see each other and all that. Still in all, we got through it just
So
fine.
how did you manage the meetings for?
Zoom. We didn't have many meetings because last year in 2020 we canceled. We did our winter gala in February. Had we done it in March, I would have had to cancel it, and we would have lost our deposit and everything. Excuse me. So we were really lucky, and we did it in February because I was waiting for this baby to be born, and I thought, I don't want to have to pick and choose going to the birth of my granddaughter or going to my winter gala. So we did it in February, so there would be no conflict. And it just turned out, to be serendipitous that we did it that way. So once the pandemic hit and we kind of realized that it wasn't going to end quickly, we changed everything. We did our gala by Zoom last year. We did a virtual run so that people could run. You say you choose the time, you choose the place, you choose where you run, and just send us your results and sign up for the run, and we'll send you a T-shirt. And that's what we did. And this year, for 2021, we did a hybrid so that people could do it on their own and not come, or they could end up coming to the run if that's what they wanted to do. And we had over 600 people came to the run.
Wow.
Great, yeah. Nice, huh?
So you still managed to raise some money.
We did. We raised good money at the run. We raised very good money at the gala. We live in a great community. People really support the work of the Ellen Hermanson Foundation, and I'm pleased. We do what we say we're going to do. We say we're going to keep the money here. We're going to that we're going to make sure that women have access to care. We're going to make sure that the Ellen Hermanson Breast Center has state-of-the-art equipment that is unparalleled. We have the same equipment, same level of technology that you would find at an academic medical center. Good for a small community, because everyone who lives out here deserves the same high quality of treatment. And just because we live in a small community doesn't mean that we don't deserve the very best, because we do.
I agree with you. And I heard somewhere that you were offered to go national.
No, not us. It might be someone else, but I don't want to go national. We have a lot to do here.
I know,
A lot
but
to
you
keep us-
didn't want to. I mean,
No, it's actually never come up. And there are groups that are national. You have Susan Komen, which is national, and you have lots of little local groups.
yeah.
And I think it's the local groups which actually have roots within a community that can be the most effective.
Yes,
Because
I would.
know the stakeholders, you have a better sense of who the people are who are influencers, and I think it can be more productive. That if you go to a national organization, you have to put in, write out a request for a grant or for money. You maybe get it, you maybe don't get it. This way, we're in touch with the community, and we know to some extent what the community needs, and we can respond to that.
Yes, and as I said earlier, everybody knows you and about you, and everybody's willing to help.
We made lots of great friends, I have
Yes.
to say. I like to think of the foundation and our volunteers almost as a family.
Yes.
And I know that people have come to volunteer meetings not knowing anyone and stayed with us for a year. Just volunteered over time. And some amazing friendships have developed. Really deep, meaningful friendships where people are present for each other. They help each other. It's who doesn't need a good friend now and then? And I love that that's what's happened in this group. It was really important to me to feel that it's more than just volunteers, that people
Yes,
can,
you always say that it's family. You feel that's your family. And you also feel you're cooking for your family.
Well, it's actually more fun to cook for the volunteers than my family, because there's so many people. You can make more things, and it's just,
Yeah.
And actually, the volunteers are more appreciative than my family, if truth be told, you know.
I will never forget those times when I used to go to your house for those meetings. It was always very delightful, and also it was meaningful. You accomplished a lot.
We accomplished a
Yeah,
lot.
you had an agenda, and it was given to everybody, and everybody knew what they have to do. I mean, they all
You know
volunteered.
who was great at that was Susie Roden used to always sit to my right.
Yes.
And she would say, it's not enough to have an idea, we have to have jobs. And she would make sure that everyone signed up for something, that everyone had a job. Susie was great that way. And
Yes.
she has always been a great help in making this foundation move forward.
Yes,
You know,
she
and
did.
really, she's always, I mean, it's not the same now. We don't meet anymore lately because of COVID.
Right.
We did meet once maybe, but, you know, not really.
Well, let's hope we're going to do it again. As I understand, COVID is like coming to an end. They hope. It is.
Well, I think it will help if more people get vaccinated and listen to the science and read about the science and not some third-hand story that's not rooted in anything. You know, it's always about the evidence, you know, and evidence-based science. And there's so much misinformation out there, and it's very, it's easy to get sucked into that. So I hope
So I
people-
want to thank Julie Ratner again to come and adorn the stage here.
Oh, thank you.
And hope to see you again. And
Thank you for having me.
it's been a wonderful, informative half hour. And as we said, I'm always happy to see you and learn all about the wonderful things you're doing for mankind, womankind.
Humankind.
Yeah.
Thank you, Judy. Thank you for having me. It's always my pleasure to be here. And it's really great to see you.
Yes.
So nice.
And I think we are just about off the air. We were thinking about, you know, why did I go to those Caribbean islands? This, what I'm wearing,
The necklace?
this part of the necklace is from Lawrence Rockefeller. That's when we went to Cerema Beach. And he gave everybody one of these little,
It's just very special, beautiful.
yeah. So this is my special necklace, because the necklace my friend Judy gave me, and this other little emblem with the G clef, my PTA, the PTA, it wasn't for my PTA. When my children went to school, I did a show for them, and they gave me this. So I call this Friendship, Prestige, and Achievement.
Very nice. But I love music. You know, they say when there are no words, there's always music.
Yeah. So this is my special necklace I like.